What's going on, everyone? Desktops Gaming here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the new Nova Mesh SE from Bitfenix. We've got a couple of them sent over here from Bitfenix. If you guys checked out our setup tour, we actually had showed you guys these and the one we were currently working on and already built in. We were working on kind of a background project with Bitfenix. This is in no way a paid review. Bitfenix did kind of contract us to do some work for their own YouTube channel, just going and doing an instructional video on their channel. So if you guys do want to check that out, that should be up on their channel very soon. But like, so we're still going to do a full, as unbiased review as I possibly can on the cases, what it was like to build in one. And we're going to go over the features today. But like I said, if you guys do check that out and happen to hear my voice on it, that's why. I just want to be fully transparent with you guys. So let's dive in and take a closer look. All right, so now that we've cleared off all but one of them, we'll just use the white one here. We'll start going over some of the feature spec of the case. Starting at the top here, you do have a removable magnetic dust filter here at the top. Like I said, it's pretty common. You guys have seen these before, but you can fit a 240 rad or two 120 fans up top. And then going over the I/O that's included here. We have the power button, the LED button, and we'll dive into that, what that means a little bit more once we get into the back side of the case. But there's two USB Type 3s and then a split audio and headphone jack there. So those will be two separate jacks. Moving around to the front of the case. It's a very similar mesh front panel that we saw on the original Nova Mesh TG. Like I said, this is the SE or Special Edition, a little different from our review we did a while back on the original Nova Mesh. They've changed the form factor a little bit. So it actually kind of shrunk down in this way a little bit, but they added a little more height to the case. So that did actually make some things easier, and we'll dive into that more as we go. But on the front side of the case here, like I said, after we get past the mesh here, we'll take this off in a second and kind of show you what's neat behind this mesh front panel here. But you have the front of the case, just a slight tint on the tempered glass here, typical 4 thumb screws here. And on the back side of the case, your normal I/O and everything is going to be on the back side here. I/O cutout for the motherboard, and then your cutout for the power supply, as well as your PCIe slots. On this one, as a kind of a cost-saving thing, Bitfenix did go with it does have a little clamp here, little slide to close off the PCIe slots, but each one of these is punch out. So there's no screws or anything holding these in. The case just comes with some extra ones to screw stuff into it, so your graphics cards, capture devices, anything like that. But the actual slots themselves don't slot out. Like on some other cases, these will have to be punched out of the metal. So once those are punched out, unless you have something else that will fit it, you can't put them back in. So like I said, you do just punch out the ones you need, and then like I said, you can dispose of those, and then those holes will remain open. All right, so let's dive on to the front here, and we'll go and pop this front panel off here a little bit. Get it on the edge, make it a little bit easier to take off. So on the front panel here, you actually do have the mesh. They're 1mm holes through the mesh here, and there's actually another fine filter on the back that will line up with that mesh. This can be removed. You can take the fine mesh filter out if you want to, but it's kind of meant to pop off like this to clean as one piece. And from our testing, airflow is pretty good on this guy. That mesh behind the metal mesh on the front didn't seem to obstruct airflow, although I could see taking it out will help some, just because you won't be having anything else behind the mesh in the front to get in the way. But this is going to help block against a lot of major dust, whereas a full open mesh front panel, yes, you do get the trade-off of getting more airflow through the case, but you're going to run into some more dust accumulation inside of the case. So with this being a mid form factor case, it's nice with these that the fans are actually on the outside or right behind the mesh panel on the case. So it does allow a little bit more room inside the case. Depending on how long your graphics card is, it will allow you to accommodate for more graphics card length, especially if you're running like a longer triple fan cooler design card. Having the fans on the outside will definitely help in that sense, because you're not worried about them obstructing the inside. But this also offers some interesting push-pull options too. So if you guys wanted to say put a 240 or 360 rad up front, and then say do it in push-pull to where there's fans on the back side of the rad too. So long as your card's not too long, it shouldn't run into that. But with the cards we tested, having the, in a mid-tower form factor like this, having those fans in the front definitely helped because both are 2070 and 3070. Show you guys that in just a sec. It's a bit too long to go in with no issue. You do run into some clearance issues when we did put those longer cards in. So having the ability just to have 3 fans intaking out on the front or from the front versus having them on the other side of the panel gave us a little bit more room. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the back here. We'll go and take this off. It's just 2 thumb screws on the back, non-captive screws. Like I said, Bitfenix did pack a good bit into this case for the price range they decided to go with, I will say. So I can't be too mad about non-captive screws. All right, and then moving on to the back of the chassis here. So as you can see, they've actually started including a controller on these. So on the previous version of the Nova Mesh, the Spectre fans could just daisy chain and connect together. Then you had to worry about having an Rgb pin on your motherboard, and you just would connect them all to that. On this one, it actually gives you different options because you have an option to run SATA to this, and then you can run your 12-volt 3-pin from the fans to this side for your fan control. And there's actually RGB addressable headers on the other side of the board here. So you can either set it up to where you can run the switch that's on the board to your motherboard and then control the lighting by clicking the LED button up there. And I believe this controller does have 60 presets built into it, and they do look pretty good. I don't know, like I said, we'll have some footage of those going up now so you guys can take a look. But it gives you the option for either or, because you can also run the header from the controller itself back to your motherboard connector. If you do have a 3-pin addressable RGB connector, you can actually run that back to the motherboard. So if you do want to use your motherboard controlled lighting and just use this for a hub, you can actually just press and hold the included LED button here, and it'll swap back and forth between the controller controlling your lighting and everything like that to the motherboard, whatever motherboard software you were using controlling the lighting instead. So it's pretty neat that you can jump back and forth at any second just by kind of pressing and holding that down, and that lets you swap control back and forth pretty much instantly. And like I said, the case does include their new Spectre Rgb fans. There's 3 in the front here, and then 1 exhaust at the rear. So definitely nice. A case at this price range, this form factor comes with 4 fans and this controller. That's a nice feature add-on. The normal front panel connectors are your HD audio, your USB 3, and then it has all your front panel connectors as well as that. I'm going to pull it up here. Let's see, that's the little switch coming off of the board itself to connect to your motherboard to allow for being able to swap control by clicking that little LED button there. So that's nice that that's included as well. Now, of course, you still could run these fans through a different hub if you wanted to. Like I said, they kind of would defeat the purpose since they do include a hub. But say if you wanted PWM control of the fans instead, you don't want to run them off SATA, you could still just connect the fans that way, and then connect the fans to your motherboard, and then still use the, if you don't want to worry about running all these together to run to an RGB pin on your motherboard, you can use the built-in controller. So it's pretty neat. And then getting down bottom here and on the back side of the case, move some of the wire mess out of the way. Like I said, we'll dive into it here. You do get some SSD mounting points on the actual inside of the case, and we'll take a look at that in a second. You do have your power supply shroud down here, and there's a dust filter on the bottom of this as well, so you can take that off to be cleaned. You do have to go at it from the back of the case though. And then there is a hard drive tray here as well for your 3.5-inch drives, or you can put an SSD on top of this one. And it can be shifted forward and backwards depending on where you need it, or it can be removed completely if you want to put in, say, a larger power supply that's still a little longer and you need the, more cable length and everything like that. We actually did a demo with one of our Seasonic units and one of our N1 units, which is actually an almost 200mm power supply. This will fit up to 200mm in length. 190 or so will fit the best, while still allowing some cable room. So I would definitely say to stick under that 200mm length range, but like I said, you can take this out. And of course, if you're going to put a 360 up front, that drive cage has to be scooted back or removed completely, because you would have to have room for the rad to slip through. All right, well, that goes over pretty much all of the case. Why don't we dive into building it? But actually, we already have one built, so let's do some editing magic. Love editing magic. Like I said, we have been testing these guys out since we got them back in from Bitfenix for the project we're working on them with, but didn't feel like rebuilding one today just for that, since we have been already testing the case. We have it set up with our new 3070 we got from EVGA, the For the Win, or excuse me, the XE3 Ultra. Was looking at it for the Win 3, didn't run in stock though. We went with our Seasonic focus on the bottom there. Like I said, we have the 3 fan setup intake, 1 fan exhaust, and we actually went with a 240 AO up top. So pretty much 3 fans coming in, then we have exhaust through the AO in the back here. We still have kind of a cable mess here, and the reason these were still in here, we just were testing the 3070 when we were able to get it in. This one is actually the purple front case. So since that is the case, we're actually going to be using some of these today. That we got in from Reaper Cable, since they're finally selling in the US. It's some of their sleeved extension kits. And we'll get some close-up shots of these so you guys can check them out. Really good quality cables. Thanks again, Reaper, for sending these over. And if you guys go over to our Instagram right now, we're actually doing a giveaway on this set. Just find the post talking about this. We posted it yesterday or 2 days ago now. Just find the global giveaway for these. It is global. And basically the winner is going to be chosen. I believe it's on January 24th. So if you guys head over to Instagram and check that out, pretty easy to enter. You just got to follow us, go follow Reaper Cable, tag 2 friends in the post, like the post, and basically the winner will be drawn randomly on January 24th. Like I said, we'll be announcing on our story as well as their story. But they make these in a bunch of different colors. We decided to go with the carbon and purple for this build today, since we have the purple front case here from the Nova Mesh SE edition. So why don't we go ahead and swap these out real quick. And we're done. It is complete. Swap those guys out. I'm actually going to come grab you guys for a little up close action here, where you guys can see some of the details on the cable. All right, so let's get a little closer here. So not too shabby. Like I said, we have the 8-pin EPS for the GPU. Then we put in the 24-pin as well. Like I said, could use a little more training. Like I said, I just opened these out of the box though. But overall, pretty easy to work with. Cable combs on them are clear, but like I said, I do like that they're fitted on both sides, not just a one-side clip. It actually does clip on both sides of the individual runs. So it makes it a little bit easier to work with. And the same thing on the 24-pin. I just figured it'd be kind of fitting since we're rocking the purple and white here. Kind of got some carbon going on. Like I said, this is our new RTX 3070. We got from EVGA. This is the XE3 Ultra. Like I said, we'll have some more testing on this card soon as well. Like I said, so definitely let me know down in the comments if you guys want to check that out or see any numbers on this guy or what we're doing with it. Overall, it's been pretty impressive so far. Spoiler alert, basically knocking the 2070 Super I had out of the park, definitely. So we'll have to dive into that to another video, but mainly just wanted to let you guys see how this one came out with the new cables in it, so you can kind of get an idea of what the case is like to build in. Like I said, overall, I do like building this one. Like I said, giving you the option to put that 240 up top is nice, since like I said, if you do want to take off I do a 360 up here, your card length might get in the way here. Definitely couldn't fit a radiator here very well, unless it's a very slim one, or like I said, you just had a shorter card. So I think going 240 up top on this guy definitely helps. So we just have the Castle 240 there, like I said, from Deep Cool. But like I said, just have that one exhausting there, and then intake here and exhaust here. Like I said, that about wraps it up, guys. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed the build here. Like I said, overall, really solid build, and definitely a welcome improvement from the original Nova Mesh. My biggest gripe on the original Nova Mesh TG from the non-SE edition was their 8-pin EPS pass-through cable. Hard to see in here now that we have the AO in place, because they actually do provide some room here to get the 240 in, and it still stays further away from the motherboard and everything, so you have more clearance. We did have to change one thing on this build. We'll touch on that in a second. But on the original Nova Mesh edition, the 8-pin EPS pass-through was just not a good cutout. That's one thing I spoke with him when we reviewed that case way back was, I think we gave the case a solid B-, just for, the price, the form factor, the overall build quality was solid, but like I said, there were a few builders' gripes here and there, and that EPS pass-through being one of them. So having, that cutout larger now, definitely nice. The cutouts on the side, the Ssd mounts, definitely nice here. Like I said, because we have 2 different places you can mount a 2.5 inch on the actual motherboard tray, and then like I said, you do have the one in the back as well if you don't take that out to fit a radiator or a larger power supply. The only thing we had to change on this build from what we originally intended was the RAM, and that's just due to where this 240 AO is sitting. It doesn't, the case isn't structured or anything, but with as deep as this goes and as kind of narrow as this case is, with the way this 240 sits, you couldn't really have that tall a RAM in here. Now, we did manage to fit the Trident Z kit in here just fine, super popular kit to run, but we couldn't use our T-Force Delta RGB because I had a little bit taller heat spreaders, and where the AO was sitting, like I said, it was conflicting with that RAM, but we managed to squeeze in the Trident Z just fine. But yeah, that about wraps it up, guys. Remember to check out the giveaway over on our Instagram of the Reaper cables here. Like I said, they're giveaway. It's a global giveaway. Just go check out the post. We'll try to link to it in the description on this video as well. So you guys go check out that post. Really easy. Just tag 2 friends. Go follow us. Go follow Reaper Cable. Like I said, just like the post. And then, like I said, on January 24th, we'll actually be announcing the giveaway on our story and on their story. So it's just randomly drawn. And like I said, it is a global giveaway, so no matter what country you're in, you can enter to win, and you can pick from any color they offer. Not just the carbon and purple today, although it does look really good. All right, but that wraps it up, guys. I appreciate you guys for stopping by, checking out the review on this guy. Like I said, we'll do some overviews on thermals coming up too. If you guys want to check that out, just let me know. I mean, airflow is solid on this case. The mesh front panel is nice. But that about wraps it up on the overview of the case. If you guys want to see anything more in depth, let me know. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Take it easy.